And bada bing, it's another Facebook Live. This is episode 31.
Yes.
So we're gonna click on this recorder, and it's going now.
Oh, and it's happening.
And it's recording through our microphones right now.
Right now it's recording.
Welcome to another episode of the CapmLew podcast. For the first time, we know that this is episode 31.
Yes.
It's the first time we've known which episode it is when we started.
Yes, and we also don't know its name yet, which is hilarious.
No, but today's episode is brought to you by Life Skateboards, our friends in the cause of good wood. And also a shout out to the Makers Movement Facebook group, where the craft of skateboard making in small scale, dingy little workshops has been open sourced, and people are starting workshops all over the world through. And featured maker of the podcast is Ben Vervat. He is in, what you call it?
Don't know.
Nederlandse praten. It's not Nederlands. It's il parle français aussi. It's the one with it's Belgium.
Peak male performance, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you got to speak the language.
Ben
first.
Vervat in Belgium. We greet you here.
Yes.
Thank you, all the makers in the makers movement. I have a very light touch there as an admin.
Yeah.
If you don't answer the questions, you're not getting in.
Well,
but today we are in a double casting capacity. So our Facebook audience, which is massive, amazing, huge number of people on Facebook. Thanks to all of you guys who watch all the way through every single live video. We understand, because these live videos are epic. So thanks to you guys for joining us. Life Skateboards, I feel like I should also be mentioning a beard product.
Why not?
But we do not have a beard product sponsoring the podcast at the time.
Okay.
It just isn't there. Maybe I've got some in a pocket.
Yeah, let's say, do you have it? Do you really?
I think I do.
Oh my
I think I
gosh.
do. Yes, I have a beard product here. They're not a sponsor, but I use it. This is actually a multi-balm from Huck Style.
Oh boy.
Huck Style.
Huck Style.
Huck Style Coffee and Oak Multi-Balm.
Guess what it smells like?
It smells like coffee and oak?
Yeah, literally.
I don't know.
It's a pleasant smell.
I can smell coffee in it, and I am using it. And the nice thing about Huck Style Coffee and Oak Multi-Balm is that it's got all natural ingredients that are not nasty. You take that not nasty stuff, you put it on your nasty beard, and oh yeah, the lav mic just took an absolute anointing bath.
Yeah, a wash.
Yep, our listeners on the podcast will get the good three-dimensional sound experience from Huck Style. But this also is great because you can also, when I shave my head, yeah, man, I can just, put some of that on there.
Yes.
And that way, when my hats get rancid with human oil and sweat, they can also have some Huck Style. Will it help? We'll see.
Oh my gosh.
And then when you're all done and you got some extra on your hands, you can go like that. You can moisturize this guy who hangs out the window of my car when I'm driving.
Yes.
So anytime I'm caging it, I still have this guy hanging out the window, and so some part of me is still on a motorcycle. That's what this one is. On the left arm, I hang him out there. But look at the sun battering.
Yes.
He's ridiculously sun battered.
Yes.
And you can also see where I could broke my arm a little bit there. And we got the permanent calcified elbow. All good. We all have those things. So yeah, these are not a sponsor, but we'd love to have a beard product sponsor. That'd be fun. I'd feel like we were in LA.
Yeah, I know.
I would.
If only.
Be very LA.
Yes.
Also, skull rings and jewelry.
Yeah,
you guys know I'm a sucker for skull rings. So get those skull ring sponsors out here. We've got the man candy.
The man candy.
That's right. So I had a good day today, and it's even better because tomorrow we've got cold and rain forecasted.
Do we really?
Yeah. Today in Cincinnati, it was 63 degrees.
It was glorious.
Glorious.
Dude. It really was.
I had to go work this morning until about 3 o'clock, and I got off 2:45. I arrived at the house and went straight to my motorcycles.
Yes.
I fired up each one of my 3 riders. I've got a builder, and it is shelved until I build out my workshop and get that thing organized, I'm not building nothing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll just be piles of piles on piles of piles, and I cannot do that. But I pulled out the bagger, first of all.
Yes.
2000 Electroglide. Color? Black, of course.
Just as God intended.
The quintessential bagger. I bought that this year so that Judy and I could ride together, and we've begun to enjoy nice motorcycle rides together. She's cute as a button.
Lovely.
My wife is not a biker chick.
Yeah.
But she's cute as a button. She'll wear little pink boots. And
that's awesome.
I honestly, what is a biker anyway? It's a human being on a motorcycle. So I mean, I'll give it to that for a second. And then the next one I got out was the old tall bars.
Yes.
Softail Standard, also year 2000. Right?
Also black, as I recall.
It is also color black. And that one, now the bagger has got gear drive cams, and it's been bumped up from 88 cubic inches, standard, 5-speed.
Yep.
It's been bumped up from an 88 to either a 95, a 96, or a 98. For me, I feel like it's a 98.
Yeah, why not?
Because that's what I want.
Yeah, why not?
And, you know, measuring that,
yeah, how do you know?
well, I've been thinking about volume measurements on a cylinder and making sure if you're at top dead center and the thing is on bottom stroke. And if you were to take a graduated cylinder with a certain amount of water in it, and then you did the subtraction, but now there's water in your cylinder. What are you doing? That's a dumb idea. Okay, so let's try it a different way. I can't think of one.
You can measure from the top of the piston to the top of the cylinder and get your diameter of the cylinder and probably do the math and figure it out.
Not really, because in order to do that, I'd have to take off the rocker boxes.
You can't stick a thing down the spark plug hole.
Well, I mean, theoretically,
but
if it's a domed header, you know, like it's domed, and you don't really have that measurement, you know.
Is the top of the piston domed?
Well, that means I would do an initial measurement with it at top dead center, and I would drop it down to the bottom, which would still be at top dead center.
Yeah, just on the other side there.
And I would do that measurement, and I would subtract the 2, and that would give me the 1, but the diameter measurement, you have to do that across the top of the cylinder.
But you could just pull that off. Oh, no, they probably
because
punched
it's
it
been
out.
built. No, they put on new jugs. They put on, it's got, you know, like, so.
Yes, right.
So it's a 98.
Yeah, right, yeah, 98 it is.
Well, the reason I would love it to be 98 is because 100 is square built for the twin cam. And square is where the diameter of your piston and the length of your connecting rod combine in a beautiful ratio for durability.
Okay.
And I'm all about durability. I don't want to be broken down, and don't want my bike to wear out as fast.
Yes.
And so I like square. So that's the bagger. The Softail Standard is also gear-driven cams, which valve timing and everything is really cool. And it means that there's not a lot of wobble on your the thingy. Crank. Your crank's not wobbling. Your run out is low enough to put gear-driven on there. And so we checked it. It's been running gear drive for a number of years. And so we actually pulled it apart and looked at it. And, ooh, baby, it is in perfect shape. So
it's a good feeling.
That one, that one's doing good. And they both compression test excellently. We've got 2 really nice bikes. About 30-something thousand miles on each one of them. So they're real good gets. Maybe 40,000 on the tall bar standard. Sure. And then bike number 3 came out, and these were just for just proof rides. You know, these are just proof rides.
Yep.
And the third bike out is what we call the Radder.
Yes.
And it is also a year 2000 Softail Standard.
Yeah.
And but it's different. It is got a lowering kit on it.
Oh yes.
So, man, I'll tell you, it hits a bump hard.
Yeah.
It's got about 1.5 inches travel on that shock absorber.
Oofta.
So it's softer than a hardtail, and it's stanced like a hardtail.
Yeah.
But oofta. And then it's got rabbit ear bars on it.
Yes.
From Lowbrow.
Yeah.
Just some bolt-on Billy rabbit ears on there, and it's got a little peanut tank that gets about 80 miles per fill.
Sure.
And it has I don't know if it has gear drive. And I have to pull it apart, but it only has 7,000 miles on it.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. How do you tell if it's gear drive? Do you have to...
You have to take off your cam cover, take the case cover off, and look at your cams.
Oh, okay.
And if you have chains that run off the crank, so it'll be the crank will come through on that side, and you're going to have a gear around that with a chain that goes to a gear around the cam. Yeah. And those two will have marks on them for timing. Yeah. You look at that. And then that chain is going to have a tensioner. Yes. And the tensioner on that gear, 2000, is usually a spring that just holds a shoe on there. And those are epic for blowing up. Yes, of course. At 7,000 miles, you're not going to have that. But this one has been built. Okay. This one does have a 98 kit on it. Okay. And both it and the dresser have Mikuni carbs, which they're great. Yeah. They're complicated. So you look up the chart and you pick your jets and you just accept it. And then sometime later, you're going to do it again. You're going to try and go a little fatter, a little, but it's like take off, take apart, put on, try it. Yes. Then take off, take apart, put on, try it. Yeah. And you really need to own a lift and you need to have your shop organized in order to really dial in a Mikuni carb. Right. Or you can look at the chart and you just accept it. And
there's no tuning screws on them?
Well, they've got a nice idle adjustment. Okay. On Mikuni, you don't even have to use a screwdriver. It's got a thumb screw and an extension that you can really use. Right. And I like that because if your bike is running and stalling at lights, you just juice it up and make it a little more rich. Right. But no, like you got to get your jetting right, and it's a whole lifestyle. Yeah. You know, and which I do live. Yeah. But the living of it is rigorous and less romantic than they told me on Sons of Anarchy. Yeah. When I really fell in love with motorcycles. Dude. So
quintessential, yes.
And so if you fell in love with motorcycles because of Sons of Anarchy, I got your back. Yes. I'm a Johnny come lately to this whole deal. And if you love riding and you ride, or if you love motorcycles and you like to just look at them, I can be your friend. But you kind of have to be a good person. So behave yourself. We'll get along. So I rode the Ratter. And the Ratter is an absolute jumper, dude. That thing is built. Yes. It's got a big build. It's got a custom ignition on it. Yeah. And it's cammed. Yeah. I don't know what the... now Jeff Wiseman just said you need to sync the carbs or you're going to have a bad day. But Harley Davidsons only have one carb. Yes. Yes. A V-twin motor with only one carburetor? I know.
Say it is not so.
That's why they suck and why they're terrible. Yes. Because you can work on them and fix them yourself and ride them and work on them. But if you're going to ride them, you've got to work on them. But it turns out that applies to 25 and 45-year-old Hondas as well. Yep. But if you've got the cheddar to buy a brand new Honda Goldwing, you're going to have a lot of miles before you're working on them. That's a fact. Yep. But on Harleys, you've got to be about the grease. Yeah. I love the single carb of a Harley, and I love the Harley stock CV carburetor. I can't say enough good things about it. Yeah. It is a simple carburetor. It's not a high-performance carburetor, but it performs really well.
Yeah, and you can jet it and do all kinds of stuff to it if you feel so inclined.
And I can break down a CV carb and troubleshoot it on the side of the road and have it all back together, and the rebuild kit.
Yeah, it's about 35,
$40.
Yeah. And you can literally redo it on the side of the road in like 15 minutes if you've done it before.
It's true.
It is really gnarly. Dude, I sold a bike one time to a guy, and he called me. I let him know. I was like, I built this thing. I have it ridden in a minute, but I built it. I can't make any guarantees. And he said, not a problem. So he bought it. And then he called me that night and was like, oh, it's like leaking gas and everything. It was just a stuck float. But I drove like 45 minutes up because I felt bad.
Hit it with a screwdriver.
No, I literally did. And I had the thing apart in his garage. And I just like knocked the float around and sprayed everything down with brake clean. And then ripped it around his neighborhood like 5 times and pissed everybody off. But it was so easy, dude. And it was so funny because the guy was like freaking out about it. And his friend was there. And his friend totally had my back. Because he was starting to get pissed, you know. And his friend was like, yo, dude, this was a as-is. Like you bought it as is. And he came all this way and he fixed it. It's done. You know what I mean? And I was like, thanks,
glad
dude.
That guy was there.
Me too, dude. Because I was like, bro, I told you this is as is. But it is. It was really simple. I had it off in 10 minutes, and I did it multiple times. because it would like leak gas, and then I would fix it,
Yes.
and then it'd ride it, and it would leak gas, and it was just on and off, like literally probably 4 times, and it
Had
took
it
like an
sat?
hour. It had sat for a while, so
There
it
you
had
go.
gunked up
There
in
you
the
go.
bowl, and then
Some
got
gunk.
into the floats.
Yep.
Yeah, it was so hilarious.
Well,
dude.
I'm really glad that other person was there. But
Yeah.
I'm also glad that right now the upper sanctum smells like coffee and oak
Oh my
multi-balm
dude.
from Huck Style.
Dude,
Oh my gosh.
so dark. It's a bridge too far. We've
Oh
gone
my
too
gosh,
far.
it's so good.
Danger. Low terrain, pull up. Low terrain, pull up. Terrain.
So, dude, I'm sorry because you were really making sense.
No,
right
I
there.
love it, bro. It's so funny, dude. It was such a good moment. That was awesome.
Oh, Travis Phillips comments that S&S is ridiculously simple as well. Also,
Aswell.
I would posit that I don't find S&S's to be as simple, but that's because I haven't learned them.
Yeah.
I know that S&S is a simple car, but they do come from a heritage of racing and performance.
Yeah.
And they tend to be, I wouldn't use, the only thing I would take any exception to in the statement that they are ridiculously simple also is that they're not as ridiculously simple as the CV car, but they do offer more performance. If you're trying to take off the line, S&S always steps up your game.
Yeah.
Even their Super E simple carburetor will take you up. I'm already sounding smarter than I am. I need to just stop and step back and just let me adjust my poser hat.
Gosh,
You know,
just hammer down. They'll never know.
no, Brad over at the bike shop. He said that I am a mechanic,
Jeez.
but I'm far from being a tech. And being verbally certified by Brad at the bike shop, Brad's good.
Yeah.
I took that as like, that's a big feather in my poser hat, you know, and I'm very grateful for the year, a little more than a year that I got to work at the bike shop.
Yeah.
And I got to do so much there, way more than I would have been able to do working here at my place, because with Brad, he always had my back.
Yeah.
He said, look, I want you to try this. I got your back. And he would let me try repairs, watching me like a hawk.
Yeah.
And always was ready to swoop in there and get it on track if it went off track. And happily, there were only a very few times that anything happened, and Brad just backed it.
It's awesome.
It was a great experience in that regard. It really was. I am a neat freak, and I'm hyper organized.
Yeah.
The bike shop was very dynamic, even chaotic.
Yeah.
In terms of like, you walk in and it's like a obviously there's a mad scientist at work in the bike shop, because he turns out amazing work. He just did a rebuild, a full, like from the crank on up, rebuild of a 78 Ironhead Sportster that is going to be a lifelong bike now. He found out what was off, what was wrong, got it mega fixed. It was a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
From the crank out, got the crank machined, bulletproof.
Yeah.
That's the kind of things that Brad does. And that's why I hope that the bike shop moves to my neighborhood. I'm not sure that I won't work there again. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But for now, I had a great day. Tomorrow's supposed to be rainy, and I'll be laughing because it was January 17th.
Yep.
And I got to ride all 3 of my motorcycles, take them out on a shakedown run. Every one of them is running great.
Yep.
And that's a good day. Because in the wintertime, the ethanol and the gas can gel out in your carburetor. So you got to keep it flowing. So in the wintertime, I take several rides. Yeah. You know, and today was a great day for it. I blew them out.
That's awesome, dude.
It was super nice. Boy, you're dying, aren't you?
I'm fine.
How long have you been bikeless?
For a couple of years now.
Is it a couple? 3? 1? 2?
3 to 4. 3, probably. 2.5, something. It's really not that bad.
It's unacceptable.
It's all right.
It'll change.
Yeah.
And I can't.
Nice to have a bike.
And we found out I can't really freely let just anyone ride one of my bikes, because the insurance companies have gone absolutely ape dookie.
Yep.
They are obsessed with just like little tiny things right now. Yeah. Obviously, their industry has taken a hit.
Yes, I'm sure.
They are like sharks in the water.
And it's like Netflix letting people share their password. I'm sure that everybody was letting everybody ride their bike, and then there was accidents, and it was just chaos.
Well, the driver used to be insured.
Yeah.
I used to be an insured driver. It wasn't like, it wasn't like, I never saw it like in the policy that you are what we're insuring, because we were insuring our vehicle.
Yeah.
But if I was in someone else's vehicle, my insurance was available to me to borrow their vehicle.
Yeah.
That even if they had failed to insure, that even though I could get a ticket for failing to have proof of insurance in the car, which probably would be dropped in court.
Yeah.
If I was going to stick on my friend and snitch on him, you know.
Right.
They'd probably be dropped in court. But you would also get off in court because you were an insured driver.
Yeah.
And now that's not the case at all. Like if I go on a ride and I'm like, Luke, man,
Yeah.
take the tall bars and I'll take the radder and let's go on a ride for 65 miles an hour for 65 miles.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great ride.
I know. Oh,
That's a 2-hour ride.
it's like the perfect speed, too.
I want to find a steak restaurant
Yes.
that's 65 miles away.
Yes. Literally. Yes.
I want to draw a circle and I want to find a good, I bet there is one, man.
Yes. Oh, guaranteed.
Dude, bro.
I know.
And then you take out a policy on one of my bikes.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying. So I'll have insurance on it and you'll have insurance on it. And
Yep.
then you take the policy out on it.
Yeah.
And then you like take the ride with me.
Yeah.
And then you go online to your policy and then you turn off.
No, you
turn
can
off the
literally
insurance.
do it. You can just turn it on and off.
Now, you can just turn it on every Thursday.
That's what I'm saying.
And turn it off every Monday.
Literally. I think it works like
So
the second it does. Like,
dude, and it's not even registered to you, but it would still be insured.
yeah, it would still be insured.
I think this might be the way.
The problem is, I think I called my insurance and they were like, no, you have to have ownership of the vehicle to take out insurance policy.
Yeah, and I don't know if it'll work, but like sometimes forgiveness is better than permission.
Yeah. Well, and I think we're coming up on perhaps a season where I'll maybe have a little bit more expendable income and I can save up and get a bike.
Bro, we're going to be rich. We have a podcast.
Yeah, look, we got six
people is insane.
Yeah, come on, man.
And that's a Facebook Live. That's a low engagement experience. Think about it. We're now on, of course, we are on the ever illustrious and seamless
Yes.
Podbean interface.
It's insane how good it works.
It's amazing. Right? But we also are on the almost never used Google interface.
Yes.
As well as, probably nobody's heard of it, Apple Podcasts.
Yes.
And definitely undiscovered.
Yes.
Spotify.
100%.
Right.
Yes.
So we offer,
Yes.
a multitude. And plus, Luke here has gone and pioneered our YouTube channel.
Hell yeah,
I think we have, are you doing 7 days a week or 5 days a week?
I pulled all of the Facebook Lives down and then uploaded them on a schedule. So one video will drop every day at 12 p.m. at noon.
7 days a week?
Sharp. 7 days a week until like the 6th of February or something. And as we do more podcasts, I will get them up as well until we get caught up. And then, when we podcast the next day, they'll be up as well for people to enjoy on the GoobTube if they want a watching experience.
Right. And I think that we probably will back it all up one of these days. When we're finally rich, we'll probably back it all up onto it's Rumble.
Yes, it's possible.
Because GoobTube has been acting really weird toward people. We've got some episodes that have some TWs. And also, we are speaking in industry community where it's real fun to report someone for harassment just because they said that something was shady.
Yeah.
And also, like that. And I have experienced those kind of takedown tactics in the past. Indirect takedown tactics, both in the makers movement and my work with my brand, Midwest Blue Collar and Fickle Skateboards. So I like the idea of having a Rumble backstock.
Yeah.
Rather than just being, well, I don't know, that we'll cross that when we come to it.
Well, yeah, we're gonna burn that bridge when we get there.
We will burn it. We will burn that bridge.
We're gonna burn that bridge. The other nice thing about the GoobTube is that unless you say something crazy, egregious, consistently, I think they pretty much don't pay attention to you. And if they do, they're more likely to pull they're more likely to demonetize a video than they are to completely pull your account. We'd have to say some crazy stuff over time, I think.
We would have to delineate the number of genders we believe in. We would have to break from the
social
the
norms.
dominant line on medical advice from government bureaucracies.
That one will probably get us smoked pretty quick. Yeah, that one would be interesting.
But you see, like that's what makes me uncomfortable. Is that if I deviate from the bureaucratic dictata of, if I do that,
yeah, right.
Three quarters of our listening audience only heard Dick Tata.
Yeah, they just heard Dick. That's it. Like, I'm gonna cut it out.
It's actually dicta. Dictum, dicta, plural of dictum. So
Stop saying
Dick. If we break with what that is in any way, it's not that I'm planning on doing it. No. It's not necessarily that I think one thing or another, but the fact that these they're the closest thing we have to an effective self-publishing common ground experience. What do they call them?
Public squares.
Public square.
Yeah.
I don't know if they actually are public squares, but wouldn't it be nice if you could self-publish into a public square?
Yeah.
It's a bit much to ask because entire companies have to have entire staffs in order for you to have that.
Yeah. I mean, they also make money on you every time you use it, so...
It's a weird... it's really... Dude, I don't know.
Right.
We talked about this before, and I'm not sure I agree with myself then. But that's the thing, is like, if you got to be able to try and say things, and say them, and then find out that you disagree with yourself, and then come back and go, yeah, I used to think that. That's why I said that.
Right.
But I don't think that now.
Right.
Just like a human being, like a normal person.
just
we think something on the 27th, and then on the 5th of the next month, we discovered that we're just mad because we can't kickflip.
Yeah. And then we don't have any core strength.
I don't have any core strength.
I mean, I find the argument that these are private companies and they're allowed to do whatever they want, to me, is compelling because I think that I believe that private companies should do as much as possible, be able to do whatever they want within the realm of ethical boundaries set down in legislation.
Then if they're going to be selected toward the content that is published on their forum, then are they subject to protections under Section 230 of the FCC code?
That's a good question.
It is, because
that's where this gets nuanced.
Now they're beginning to act like a publisher. Although I'm glad they do, because in a way, if my YouTube GoobTube feed were full of like super hyper crazy stuff that I really don't want to see, like, for example, some things that didn't get pulled down were like crazy, not just political videos, but videos of crimes being committed in the name of politics.
Oof,
you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Those stayed up while very mild and pretty common disagreements got pulled down right away.
Like immediately.
I think Twitter was real bad about that.
Yes.
Are we on Twitter?
No.
Oh.
Well, dude, Twitter just was ousted as being in bed with the federal government.
Oh, it
like
appears.
Big time.
It does appear. I love this. There's an article that just came out. Who is Matt Taibbi?
Yes, dude.
And they're trying to color it like Matt Taibbi is just some blogger.
Dude.
Unbelievable, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Finding out that the federal government was exercising control and, like paying for certain things.
Yes.
Changes the whole game. And if that wound up being true of GoobTube, that would make me feel really angry. And I would actually think at that point that we would not regret being on Rumble.
No. Right.
Because we would stop giving GoobTube all the money they make from, I don't know, this.
Right, whatever this is.
This is content for them to lace. They put ads on my GoobTube videos, and they don't send me a ducat.
What?
Yeah. My GoobTube videos have ads on them.
What?
And they don't send me a dime. I've got like 300 views, and I clicked to watch a video on my feed, and there's an ad. Absolutely. No, they're throwing ads on everything.
All right.
I mean, I'm
just registering that information right now. Okay, cool. That's crazy.
check it out.
All right, I will. That seems weird.
For what it's worth, it's obviously worth something to someone, but it's not worth anything for them to pay me for. That's fine.
Right.
I'm not asking for something. If they offered me ad revenue from GoobTube, I mean, in terms of expedience and pragmatism, I would probably take it.
Yeah.
But in the front of my mind, I would know this is going to come back to bite me.
Yeah.
Thing is, posting there at all will come back to bite me. Everything bites you. So, you know, just, I don't know.
And how is a person supposed, I mean, I get it. How is a person supposed to do this and have it be something that they can spend real time doing if they're not going to have a financial gain doing it, you know? That's not evil.
Yeah. No.
It's not, you know? I don't mind watching the videos in the front end of a YouTube video.
One thing I can be sure of is that while I am watching that,
yeah,
I will be enjoying the fresh scent of
Dude,
coffee and
dude,
oak multi-ball.
You've got to stop, dude. You don't even know these people. It's probably owned by Amazon, bro. Oh my gosh, dude. I just cannot, dude. The segues are killing me, dude. Oh my gosh. You know one thing that I know. Oh boy, dude. Somebody cancel us, please.
No, dude, it's so fun.
That is so funny, dude. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
That was beautiful. Wow, dude. I am so proud of you. Gosh. This is quality content.
Oh my gosh. And then meanwhile, Sam Cooke is stamping his foot and going, do it with life skateboards.
yes.
You know, one thing I do know, Luke?
I can't, dude. I just can't abide it, bro.
Shameless.
Yes, completely shameless.
Well, so tomorrow is supposed to be rainy and cold, and I'm happy. I know that we're still waiting on a bike for Luke.
Yes.
Let me ask you this question, Luke.
Go ahead.
If you, today,
Go ahead.
could drag any bike down into your stable.
Yeah.
Your little subterranean
yes, garage
workshop.
Garage mahal.
Which you do have.
I do have.
What would it be?
Well, I don't want a Sportster. I mean, I wouldn't say no to a good deal on a Sportster. I want something a little bit bigger. I had a Sportster. I don't have anything to prove about nothing. I don't want a bagger though, but I wouldn't say no to it. Just something bigger than a Sportster, something that doesn't suck. I'd like it to be like an Evo. I'd love it if it had a CV carb on it. I really don't want to deal with fuel injection crap, and I don't want to convert fuel injection over to carbureted.
No, we're not doing that.
Crazy shit.
No.
But
plus, if you're converting fuel injection, then you got a 6-speed in there.
Yeah.
And 6-speed, the 6th speed only served me when I was over 85.
And there's no need to be going that fast, bro.
And,
I mean,
yeah.
So I like your Softails. I like the Dynas a lot. And like the early Dynas. Like what's the earliest Dyna? I think the Shovelhead was like a Dyna, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Not a Shovelhead. The first gen Evo Dyna.
This is where I have to put on my poser hat entirely.
Yes.
And say, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to say it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
It could have been earlier, but the Dyna design.
Yeah.
This is the place where we will go and talk about the new Harley Softail design being really good.
Okay. Go ahead.
It's a good performance design.
Yes.
That's what I really think, that the new Softail is a good performance design with a motor and drivetrain that are also good.
Yeah.
Guy like me doesn't tend to roll the kind of monetaries necessary for the acquisition of such a thing.
Yeah, come on.
And those monetaries aren't just purchase price.
Yeah.
They're also for the tooling for me to rebuild it when it's reached, I don't know, I'd like it to need to rebuild it 80,000 miles.
Yeah.
It probably, the way that the M8 has been operating, I think that they're more like rebuild at 40,000 miles. The track, it's a newer motor. 2017 it came out, and there are always going to be wrinkles. They came out with some fixes.
Yeah.
They did some venting. They did some stuff.
Yeah.
But they've done away with brass bushings and things like that.
Yeah.
And if I Yeah, but I was wondering what you would want, and you're saying Dyna.
Yeah, like somebody said
Softails.
FXR.
Oh, FXR is a great bike.
Yeah, that's what I would like. I'd like something a little bit bigger. If I got bigger and stripping it down so it looks like
stripping down
it looks
a bagger.
like a Dyna.
Do you know what the problem is with that?
What?
The bagger frame doesn't let you do it.
What?
Yeah, the way that the rear wheel is situated in a bagger frame.
Okay.
You don't have the ability for lowering the stance. You don't
Yeah.
don't have it.
Okay.
You have major work to do.
Sure.
Like framework to do.
No.
Get what, like you take a Dyna.
Yeah.
Put some slammer shocks on it and reroute the rear wiring.
Yeah.
Or like me, don't, and then have your wiring go out in Indianapolis, and a good man comes out on like Memorial Day or Labor Day and helps me fix it.
But at least you can get to it.
You sure can, man.
Yeah, you get to it, bro.
You sure can. You can
Yeah.
reroute your wiring.
Yeah.
And now you've got a slam Dyna.
Yeah.
Still has shock travel, about 2
Yes.
inches of shock travel. It's
Yeah.
going to be stiff.
Yeah.
But that thing will be windproof.
Yes.
That's what slamming it did for me.
Yeah.
And I went from Cincinnati to Cleveland to Indianapolis, redid my wiring.
Yes.
And then I headed out to Texas.
Yep.
Did Kansas City, Oklahoma City.
Yep.
Wichita Falls.
Yep.
Like really did. Like I went to Austin, then I went to Wichita Falls, then I went to Kansas City and Oklahoma City, and I went all these places.
Yep.
The Dyna's a great bike.
Yes.
I liked it. The problems I had with my Dyna, it was a 96.
Mm-hmm.
That is cubic inches.
Yes.
And it went pear shape, and it ran really, really hot.
Yeah, what was the deal? I can't
ran
remember.
Really hot. Well, I never figured out what was wrong with that Dyna.
Oh.
In terms of being so hot.
Why would
I had mechanics tell me that it was fine. I wonder if the piston oilers.
Yep.
I wonder if the piston oilers
Mm-hmm.
were always open,
Ah.
so that we got a huge amount of oil in the crank.
Yes.
Cavitate foamed up the oil.
Yep.
And caused return to be messed up.
Yep.
Also took away the cooling properties
Right.
of the oil.
Yep. So you're not getting proper lube.
So in order to find that out,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to do a top-end rebuild on it.
Is this on a current bike or the one?
No,
Okay.
that's on the they wound up calling it a Franken Dyna. That Dyna,
Franken-Dyna.
I traded it in
Yeah.
on my first Softail,
Yeah.
which was my friend Tim and I went into Harley all the time.
Mm-hmm.
When I had the Dyna, and he has a Fat Boy.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes.
He's really got a beautiful Fat Boy.
Yeah.
And he beats on it.
He really
I
does.
love
Dude,
Tim.
I've ridden with
love
him.
Tim.
It's
I love
sick.
riding with
Yes,
Tim.
dude. He's a great riding buddy.
I just think he's a great buddy in general.
Yeah.
We would always go and we'd play a game.
Mm-hmm.
It was our game, and it was called Which One Would You Ride?
Oh, that's sick. Yeah.
We did it all the time for a summer.
Yeah.
And we got, I don't know, through summer and the winter, and we were in a Harley Davidson place, and they were sticking out like a sore thumb
Yes.
with 22 inches of bars on it. It was 20-inch apes with 2-inch risers.
Yes.
Sitting there is this Softail. And I said, geez, Tim, this is the first time
Yeah.
there's a bike here that I would ride.
Yes.
This is what I'd ride.
Yeah.
And I knew the sales guys there. Sin City Harley,
Mhm.
Nick, the
Yes.
guy who runs a bunch of sales stuff there. He's
that,
awesome.
Is that Nick P?
I don't know his last name right now. I do know his last name, but I don't remember it right.
Is he one of the wheelie dudes?
No.
Okay.
No. Nick is like a Magic the Gathering nerd.
Dude, that's sick,
He
bro.
is. Like,
yes.
he's like a Pokemon guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's just good people.
I love it.
And Nick was there, and I was like, hey. And there was one of the sales guys there who I just had a heart, and it was during like the fog of war,
Yes.
pandemic.
Yes.
And they weren't moving anything. They had like 12 bikes on the floor.
Whoa.
And I said, hey, you guys want to make some money? I got some money for you. I'll trade you my 2012 or 2013 Dyna.
2008?
No.
No, it was,
No, it was like a 2012.
Yeah.
I said, I'll trade you this 2012 Dyna with just like 30,000 miles on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll trade you this for that 2000
Yeah.
Softail. I'll
Yeah.
trade you a 6-speed for a 5-speed.
Yeah.
they both had 30,000 miles on them. And I just trade you, like bike for bike.
Yeah.
I'll trade you value for vintage.
Yeah.
You know, because I was going to carbureate it. That's what started us.
Dude. Yes, bro.
My next stop was to spend anywhere from $500 to $1,000 of robbing Peter to pay Paul to carburate the thing because I was sick to death of its electronics.
Yes,
I wanted to put it on a 7-wire harness or a 5-wire harness or a 3-wire harness. You know, because I wanted to get it simple.
Right.
And I almost put it on points.
Dude.
Yeah, well, there was a guy. There's a guy out in Texas. His deal is called the Pigsty.
Mm-hmm.
And he went by a road name. I met him in New Orleans, and I just felt like peas in the pod with him. Older guy.
That's sick.
And obviously been doing this forever. I mean,
Yeah.
a real master of the craft. And I was telling him, I was like, I want to carburate my Dyna. And he's like, we do all the time. We take bikes all the way back to points.
Bro, that's a bold move.
Well, points are not easy.
No.
It's not an easy life. But the thing is that when you're good
Yeah.
at timing points ignition,
Yeah.
you've got a pocket full of points and a piece of emery cloth, and you are, yes, you will have to change your points.
Yeah.
And yes, you will have to understand points ignition, and you will have to do that. But EMP goes off, man, you're still riding.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And not only EMP goes off, but also if you, what do you call it? Jump your bike with a car. You know what I mean? Like when an electronic ignition goes bad,
yeah,
it goes bad in a way that you're in a hotel room.
Yeah.
And you're going to spend probably $700 in hotel while you're waiting for a dealership to put in a new wiring harness.
Yeah.
All right. So like there's a value system where I'm like, yes, it's like a pain in the ass to be on the side of the road sitting next to your bike with semis winging by you.
Right.
But you know what, dude? Just put a tarp over yourself and let the rain fall and just do your points. Like, and that's, to me, that's the American road experience.
Yeah.
So, like, I was going to do points ignition, and then I realized, well, there's some good electric ion ignitions I could do that are good. Ultima makes an acceptable, over at the bike shop, Brad swears by Ultima.
Sure.
Ignitions, they're not the best one out there, but like it's better than good enough to get you from A to B a million times, and yada yada yada. So I was about to carburate the thing.
Yeah.
I was standing there, and there's a bike I'd ride home, and it had a 5-speed.
Yeah.
And I like the 5-speed. Now, some of that's because the 5-speed's what I have, and you tend to have affection for what you have.
Yeah.
And I'll cop to that.
Yeah.
But I really did. I saw a lot of 6-speed problems, and I just saw a lot of 6-speeds with problems, and in my year at the bike shop, I didn't fix any. And then Brad was talking to me, and he was saying, you don't see a lot of 5-speeds come in, and so they did it. They did a 1-to-1 for me.
Didn't they throw in some cheddar to make it?
No, not a dime.
Cool.
Not a dime, and they sold that bike at good profit, not once, not twice. But thrice.
Oh my gosh,
they
dude.
sold that same bike.
Good for them.
And it was part of their Halloween decorations.
I remember,
because of my sissy bar that I built.
Yeah, out of the rebar.
It was a real piece of crap,
yes, dude.
But awesome at the same time.
Yes.
Been all over the country.
Yeah.
And so that was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. There were some unfun parts to it that worked. Did they work out?
Did they?
Yes, they did. They did work out.
They seem to have worked out.
It did include a lawyer.
Well.
It did include a lawyer.
Well, you will have that. Dude, one time...
Cough, cough. Odometer fraud, cough, cough.
Yikes. Dude, one time I broke a sissy bar. I was on a ride with the sportster that I sold. I went out to the lake that's up in Indiana. What's it called? It's like
Brookville.
Brookville Lake. I took back roads all the way up there. And I was going down this hill, and I was kind of ripping because there was nobody around, and there was a set of train tracks I didn't realize. And so I the hill comes down, and then you hit the flat on the train track, and then it goes down again, and I hit it. And the suspension went down, and as the suspension was coming up, I hit the lip of the descent, and I literally aired the bike. It was like motocross. I aired the bike, and I hit it was so bad, not good. And I remember landing and being like, I could have just died. That's
What-
cool.
What's wrong? What was wrong with you?
Listen, my brain wasn't. I was
I'm
firing
telling
on
you,
like
man.
2 cylinders on a V8. I was in a rough time. But I got home and I looked back and I had a bag tied to my sissy bar and one of the sides was broken. I think you still have it back there
I
somewhere.
actually, that same sissy bar,
Yes.
I cut
Oh yeah.
and I
you made-
welded
Yes.
onto the radder.
Yes.
I welded
yes.
it onto the radder for my sissy on the radder. So
Yes.
that's how it broke.
Yes, that's how it broke, dude. As far as I know. I was
were,
like, oofta.
You know what? You were a bad rider.
Yeah. I was a great rider, but I made really poor riding
See,
decisions.
Luke and I took the safe riding course together
Yes, that was a
and
lot
got
of fun.
our motorcycle licenses on the same day.
Yes.
And he is a way better motorcycle rider than I am in terms of all of the like cornering and
Yeah.
stopping and all those things.
As far as the balance goes.
I show my age and I show my lack of giftedness in that as well as my skateboarding, and I'm fine with it.
Well, and your wisdom.
Well,
Because that's the one thing I was lacking.
I don't know if I'm wise, but I do know that I'm scared.
yeah, I don't
You
want to die.
Well, there's even a scripture that says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
Yeah.
But maybe the fear of crashing is the beginning of a long motorcycle career.
Yes.
I don't know. I could
Yes.
die any minute. I
Yes.
could die any minute. I was riding today on all 3 of my bikes, and every minute I'm riding, I'm cognizant
Yes.
of the consequences.
And you
Not
should
only
be.
of my own choice to ride, but of other people's choices to go left without actually looking.
Yes.
Those left turners, man, even today, I had a person that was coming out of a side street. I saw them. There were parked cars.
Yeah.
Saw them from a distance,
Yeah.
clearing in, and for sure,
They
I
just
came
ripped
up
out.
on them. Well, no, loud pipes were saving lives that moment
Yeah.
because I slowed down, got ready to maneuver, gave it a throttle blip,
Yep.
and they were stopped. But
Good.
they were stopped in surprise.
Yes.
Because looking for a motorcycle on crowded city streets just ain't happened. And I have a dear friend
Yeah.
who, well, we're not super close, but he is a dear person.
Yeah. Totally.
And he got run over by a lady.
Doing the left turn thing.
No, she was a nurse, and he was parked in a spot. He had pulled into a spot, and she just hit him. She went across 4 lanes of traffic the wrong way, and she hit him.
Bro.
And she said, I always do that every day when I park for work. Now, this is me remembering the story, but there's no names.
Intense.
And she said, I do that every day, that same move. I do it
Yeah.
every day. I don't know if she swung a huge Yui into the spot or what she was doing. But
Was he parked?
he was there. I think he was stopped. and I
Okay.
think it was a parking spot. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it just was one more time when you see that people don't see what their brain and their mind don't accept.
Yep.
And she ran him over big time. He did not get a broken hip, but he got a badly bruised hip.
Bro.
And his bike, man,
Destroyed.
was just shy totaled and was repaired at the bike shop.
Dude.
And I'd done quite a few things on his bike, and he is a favorite customer at the bike shop.
Yes.
And he even brought us. He's a bartender, and he brought us a fine whiskey.
Oh yeah.
He did. He brought us a fine whiskey. Did
That's
you taste
awesome.
that whiskey?
I think I was there for a whiskey tasting.
Heaven
I can't
Hill
remember.
or something like
Was
that.
it moonshine or was it,
It
actually
wasn't.
whiskey?
No. The moonshine was another guy.
Yeah. Okay. I got you.
We've enjoyed some really kind gifts at
Yes.
the bike shop, and I'll tell you, I love working on Harleys. I love working in Harley stuff, but there's no career there for me.
Yeah.
I have a couple of guys. I would say that I'm their friend and they're friendly with me.
Yep.
And I care about their lives, and they are awesome Harley techs.
Yeah.
They are competent.
Yeah.
And they even allowed me to come back and see where they work. Sure. And I really enjoyed visiting with them. Yeah. And seeing how it is there, and I could see that there doesn't feel like a career for a 50-year-old guy who is, I'm barely a competent mechanic level guy.
Sure.
Actually going in and having a career at the tech level.
Yeah.
If I were to make a pivot, if this podcast fails to become the cash cow
Oh my gosh.
that it really looks like it's going to be,
Yeah.
I think I would apply at Harley to wash bikes.
Yeah.
And be a helper if that were the only thing
Sure.
around.
Yeah.
If I had to plug into a Harley dealership.
Right.
I don't mind the uniform shirts. You still wear jeans and boots.
They're nice.
Yep, you're allowed to pack. You're allowed to take the hot iron with you. You're allowed to have a knife. It's not a bad gig.
Sure.
So, but what I really hope for
Mm-hmm.
is that the bike shop relocates near my house.
Oh, dude.
Because as great as it would be for me to have a career in Harley repair,
Mm-hmm.
having Brad in the bike shop
Close.
down the street from my house.
Come on.
I'm working on stuff here, and I can go over and be like, Brad,
Can I
I'm
please?
pulling a transmission. Can I please borrow a bearing puller?
Yes.
You know,
dude.
like
Yes,
just to know
dude.
that he's down there.
Yes. I would feel safer just in my life if I knew that Brad was just down the road. I would feel good. I'm like, yeah, this is right.
Dude,
it's true.
seriously.
Yes, Brad is the best.
I mean,
Bro.
you know, he's not a hobbit,
Well,
even though he loves D&D.
let's not be too
He
hasty.
plays D&D.
I know, dude. The guy is a
And
magician.
he plays other fantasy games. It's like
Yes.
Nick over at the Harley place,
Yeah.
the sales guy.
Yeah.
He's into that. And Brad plays other things. And he'll we'll be working,
Yeah.
and he would be like, oh yeah, we play this game, you know, like Ethereum or Lucium or some crazy name.
Illusium.
And he'll start telling me about it, you know, and all I can think of is I'm level 34 paladin. You
Yes,
know, like,
dude. Yeah.
and he'd start telling me about it, and I'm
Yeah.
like, man, maybe the nerds really did win.
Dude, for sure,
I
bro.
think they did.
For sure.
I do.
I really don't like those games, but I like people who like them.
There it is.
It's an interesting concept
There
in my
it
life.
is.
I do not like games that don't feel like they have a point or like a structure, but I like people who like them. I find them wildly fascinating.
Dude. And,
You know?
and so I think those games take more intelligence than what we actually.
Yeah, dude, my IQ of 80 is just not gonna cut it.
It's so ironic because we use big vocabulary. We know it.
Don't
We
be
read books and
confused.
we use big vocabulary, but we don't feel very smart over here.
What you're looking at is just 120 hours of Jordan Peterson in full display.
No, what you're looking at is you're looking at a couple of guys enjoying the fresh scent of
Bro,
coffee
I
out
did
of oak,
not, dude. I almost did not.
multi-balm
Dude.
from Huck's style.
Oh my gosh. Ah! I feel like I'm in a wormhole, dude.
Dude, the last time we sat down to podcast, my dog Rocco joined us.
Yes.
After we were done, Luke was like, dude, were you ripping ass during our podcast? Because it was awful.
Dude, it smelled so bad.
And I was laughing because during the podcast, I was having a personal chuckle because Rocco was down here,
Yes.
you know, and he was on the floor between us, and I could hear him cracking off. I could hear him cracking off. You know, and he walks around, and he's got his tail and his little
Yes.
butthole just wagging all over the place. But you don't realize the price.
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
And
Yes.
he was cracking off, and he was just doing those little like that. And Luke's thinking it's me,
Dude,
and
what
I was
smell?
smelling it. I was smelling. You know how dog farts are.
Yes, they are.
Well, I was
dude.
smelling, but he eats organ meat every day,
Yeah, it smells like a human
and she
fart.
puts like, oh, my wife is so good to him because he's old. He's old now,
Yeah.
you know. She puts in some yellow. It's not saffron, but she puts cumin or
Yeah.
something like that in his food.
Of course.
She calls it golden paste.
Yes.
It's coconut oil. and
Yeah.
I think it's cumin.
Okay.
She puts that in there, you know. So he's cracking off, and I'm thinking, you know that you've got a good dog when he's ripping them off.
Yeah,
You're
dude.
during a podcast, and you smell it, and you're like, "That's my boy.
That's my boy,
That's
dog.
my boy.
Yeah, dude.
I love this guy." You know,
Yeah.
like seriously, you know, because everyone
Yes.
smells their own farts,
Of course.
and the odd earthy fellow
Yes.
might say something we all laugh at, which
Yes.
is like, yeah, I smelled my own fart, and I was like, that smelled good.
It kind of smells good. Yeah, dude.
You know, not because it smells good, but because it smells like familiar, dude. When I
Yeah,
smell
right.
that smell, I'm usually,
Yeah.
you know, in my bathroom,
Yeah,
thinking
right.
my own thoughts, and nobody's
Yes.
interrupting me. You know,
Yes. Right.
and like that. That's why I don't like cats.
Yeah.
Because like when Rocco comes in the bathroom, he's my accountability partner.
He's my
He comes into the bathroom with me, and I'll put a towel over him. He's on the bath mat, and he falls up in that little, like with his little pit bull face.
Yes,
you know?
dude, little
he has
doggy
a
donut.
pink face with a black nose, you know.
Yeah.
And he'll be there just sleeping away, and he's noisy when he sleeps.
Yes.
He snores.
Yes, he's grunting and
Like
grunting.
grunts and snores, and
Yes.
he'll kick in his dreams. You know,
Yes.
it's good, bro.
Yes.
Good for a guy.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, so like, but now it's come to a place where I had to realize last week after you said what you said, and we talked about that, I really did blame the dog.
Yeah.
And it was.
Yeah.
I realized that, like, I've graduated past being the guy who's like, yeah, I smell my own fart. You know what? It smelled good.
Yeah.
To where, like, no, my dogs.
Yes, actually smell
My
comforting.
dog's gaseous
Oh my
emanations
gosh.
bring forward memory of home and hearth.
Of home and hearth, dude. Dude, I was keeping my cool because I was like, this would be so hilarious to call Lou out right now. But it's so funny that was Rocco the entire time because it was rancid. I was really like working to keep my cool, you know?
That is awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Because
dude.
I was having a whole different experience over here.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, man, I love this guy, dude.
Yes.
Like, man, smelling Rocco's farts means, you know, as old as he is, he's still with us.
Yes,
man,
here
this
he
is
is.
awesome.
Yeah.
And also, he was making hilarious sounds because
Yes.
he's just going, little poop, little
Yeah.
pooter.
Yeah.
And those are the hilarious ones when your
Yes.
dog just goes like that, and then the wave.
Yes.
Especially like pure kibble fed dogs. Man.
Oof, dog, dude.
They're just acrid.
Yeah, they were
Like
bad.
eye watering. Zero diesel, just pure human water just coming out of your eyes.
Yeah, dude.
This ain't that single diesel tear.
Yeah,
you know,
no. This is pure survival.
Make a man a mouse.
Yeah, dude. Put some chest hair on you. It's so
Put some
good,
chest
dude.
hair on your eyeballs.
On your eyeballs. Oh man, that's hilarious.
I just think that stuff's good for us.
Yes.
I think it's good for us that we have creatures in our life that we have that kind of affection for.
100%.
But yeah, so if you did get a bike, I'm
Yeah.
hearing you leaning toward Dynas, but somebody suggested an FXR.
Are they the same thing? What does it
Okay.
even mean?
Let's talk about it because
Go ahead.
the FXR is truly a unicorn bike.
Okay.
What happened was this.
Go ahead.
You had Sportsters and you had kind of touring bikes.
Okay.
So you had a touring frame and you had a Sportster frame. The Sportster was very popular.
Yes.
This was during the rise of the motorcycle club era.
Yes.
It wasn't really, I mean, the 60s and like that. But what happened was,
Right.
in the 80s, Harley Davidson thought, let's take a frame that's not a touring frame covered with bags.
Yes.
Let's take a frame that's like touring frame dimensions,
Okay.
and let's put it on a cruising platform.
Okay.
So cruiser is like, you can put bags on a cruiser.
Yeah.
And they did. They put, it had a, like a longer wheelbase, a better performance at high speeds.
Sure.
A Sportster is awesome
Yeah.
up till like 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And it gets really awesome
Yeah.
because
It's really awesome.
you're in the risk.
Yes.
But
Yes.
the FXR could carry you up 120, and what dudes were doing was they were building them.
Yeah.
They were building powerful motors, and it was like if they took a bagger engine and they're not engine cycles, they're motorcycles. They
Yes.
put a bagger motor into a stretched Sportster frame.
Mm-hmm.
And the FXR was a really bad seller.
Really?
It didn't sell well.
Wow.
So they discontinued it. The problem is, it was an amazing frame.
Yeah.
It was an amazing platform.
Sure.
And it got snatched up. I know that several prominent bike clubs loved that FXR.
Yeah.
Because you could build a lane splitter. You could build
Yeah.
a narrow bike on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That you didn't have to extra rake it for
Yes.
highway performance.
Yes.
Okay, I'm probably wrong. Remember,
That's fine.
I have a mechanic feather and a poser hat.
And a poser hat. Yes.
But the FXR is beloved and sought after with great nostalgia.
Yes.
They tend to be in bad repair. You want to build an FXR. Oh, yeah. Also, you want to build it well.
Yeah.
So that's.
Are they swing armed?
Uh-huh.
Are they square framed?
They don't have the square tubing like the baggers do.
Okay, because those things are like all square.
Yeah,
Which is
they're real
interesting.
blocky.
Yeah.
I mean, like, That's like, I want to make a cafe racer out of a gold wing.
Yeah, right.
Which is done a lot.
Yeah, which is kind of sick.
Well, mostly I think people, this is opinion, but I think people make cafe racers out of gold wings because the gold wing wiring and all the accoutrements are so convoluted with the plastic and all that stuff that they're like, okay, what would happen if I just got rid of all that?
Like all of it.
Just had an ignition.
Yes.
You know, and okay, fine, rear lights.
Yes,
you know?
yeah, that's it, right.
And you know, right there, you're also doing a complete build.
Yeah.
You know, and I have a Sportster in build right now that is, I mean, I haven't done a thing to it in 3 years.
Yeah.
Probably needs to be completely redone.
I broke the ignition relocation bracket that you put on that thing. Remember when I took that thing down to Louisville and brought it back? I broke your big bib zippers and the ignition relocation. I came back a broken man. I was really bummed out. I was like, dude, he let me borrow all the stuff.
I think you came back with me being a broken man.
Yeah, well, there was I just felt so bad. I was like, dude, I was just like piling on this guy. Like, I'm really not meaning to do it. The zipper just broke, and then the other thing broke, you know.
Well, the bibs were okay. You do know what happened with that bracket.
You tried to re-weld it.
No, dude, I did re-weld it.
Did you?
Were
you successful?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, dude, totally.
Because that day you were trying to do it was not working well, but I think maybe the next day you hit it and it worked.
Well, yeah, when my youngest started riding that bike, the first thing I did was weld that thing.
Yeah.
And you know, welding works better if you clean it.
Well.
And I mean, we're talking $100 Harbor Freight flux core welding. That's all my welding.
Me too.
I mean, on a good day, which hasn't happened yet, I might put a coffee can there to catch a little argon off the flux. No, I won't.
Yeah, no, come on.
I won't.
Who's got the time for that?
Someday, maybe I'll have a proper MIG welder. But before I get that, you know what I want? An acetylene setup.
Bro, don't even talk to me, bro.
Bro, I want an oxyacetylene because I make my sissy bars by bending them in a campfire. I build a campfire and I put some charcoal in it.
Yeah.
And then I bend and build rebar sissy bars.
Yeah.
And I've done like 4 of those.
Yeah.
And I'm like, then we did something with my sissy bar at Crucifix when I was working there. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you can get it cherry red in like 25 seconds.
With the torch. It's crazy.
And I knew that.
Yeah.
But I had ignored it.
Just in my mind.
Because I danced with the one what brung me. And it's a campfire with, you know.
Yes.
And I didn't have an anvil. I want an anvil.
Yeah, that would be sick.
I have a place for an anvil and I want one.
Dude.
I do. I do. I don't want it all. One of the things I do want is to smell good.
Stop, bro. Stop.
Coffee and Oak Multi-Balm.
Dude.
From Huckster.
Dude, bro. One time, I was changing the leaf springs on my truck because they were shattered because the guy who had it before was putting too much weight on them. So I got new springs, and springs have shackles on either end, and the shackles have shankles. The shankles have a grommet. It's a rubber grommet with a metal spacer in it that the bolt goes through. And they're pretty notorious for basically welding themselves together with rust.
I've seen that. I had a K5 Blazer did that.
Dude, it was so rough. I was outside all told probably 16 hours changing these leaf springs. I had the first one on in like 2 hours. I had the second one, the bolt off. I worked on one bolt for like
days.
8 hours. And I
just to get it out.
Just to get it out.
So were you just pounding and heating and pounding
and heating and pounding and heating and I was using the spray, all the WD-40s, all the
PB blaster,
everything, dude. I even had it set up because it was, you got the body of the truck, and then you have the frame, and then you have the shackle that sits between it. So you can't, you're screwed. You can't do nothing.
Can you swing a hammer hard?
No.
Oh.
No, you're totally screwed.
Oh.
Dude, at one point, I had
it's a hardened bolt, so you're not drilling it out.
Yeah, I had a full-sized crowbar stuck underneath the head of the bolt and against the frame. And I had a ratchet strap attached to the bottom end of the crowbar, attached to a post that was in the ground. And I was using the ratchet to try to drive this thing out. Finally, I went to Home Depot with a friend. I got 10 grinding wheels. I got home. They were masonry grinding wheels.
No!
I went back to Home Depot. And I got 10 right metal grinding blades.
Just cut wheels?
Yes. And I bought 10 of them, and I used every single one of them. I was on my 10th.
What were you cutting?
I was cutting so the spring comes up and it curves around into a circle, and then inside that circle is the rubber grommet and the steel, bolt that sits inside of a steel grommet as well. So I cut a square out of the top of the spring that came around to get to the bolt.
You were replacing the spring.
Yes, I was like, oh, fuck this thing. I cut the spring off, so all it is this curved piece.
With the bolt.
With the bolt. And I cut the top of the spring.
Spring steel.
And I cut.
Is very hard.
It's super hard. And I cut the rubber inside of it, and then I got into the steel casing for the bolt.
Yeah.
I finally cut that.
The sleeve.
And then finally, dude, I cut the bolt, and the thing just fell off. And I literally like danced for joy.
You talking about one cut down the center?
Yes.
To cut the bolt.
Yes, but it ended up as like a conglomeration of cuts because the angle was messed up and the wheels are only so wide.
Yes.
And dude, I had the other spring on in like 15 minutes.
Okay.
Like it was just that, and in that moment, I say this because the acetylene torch, I would have just melted that. It can't be stuck if it's melted. I would have just melted that bolt right out of there.
That would have worked.
100%. And I would have just cut the spring out.
And like, what I ran into is like, at one point I had an oxyacetylene set up and it had empty tanks, and I took it to the tank place and they're like, nope. Can't replace them. I was like, okay. So then I was like, where can I get them replaced? And they're like, nowhere. And I'm like, oh, no wonder someone gave it to me for free. You know? Like,
thanks, man.
But I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
But instead, I gave away the setup because I
couldn't use it.
How am I supposed to use something I can't use?
So they want you to buy their tanks, and then they're the only ones who can fill them up?
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, you know.
Kind of.
So, well, fish got to swim, shark got to eat.
Yeah,
you know,
whatever,
it's fine.
Dude. Yeah, but it's totally worth it.
It was fine.
Yeah.
And also probably it was going to blow me up anyway. I hope it didn't blow up the guy who gave it to me. You know.
Dude. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a connoisseur of too little, too late.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
But dude, I had the the propane torches that you can get from like Harbor Freight.
Yeah, like you can get the MAP gas.
Yes.
That's hotter.
I got one of those sitting on that thing for like 25 minutes, and it didn't touch it. Dude.
No.
It didn't touch it.
You could have had it dribbling down and burning a hole through your thigh.
Literally.
With an oxyacetylene.
Like in 30 seconds.
Cutting.
Yes.
Yes.
Through everything.
Well, so the FXR.
Yes.
Not the way to go if you don't find one.
Yes.
That's in great shape, or if you don't already have the wherewithal, the means, or the money.
Yeah.
To make one awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think this guy, Luke.
Yes.
This is a guy who could build a bike.
Yes.
Yeah. This is a guy who can build a bike.
With enough time and enough financial resources, I think I could get it done.
Yeah,
I do have like totes and totes full of Sportster stuff. Like, I probably have like 5,000.
99?
Yeah, like between the 94 and the 2003 or whatever, like in that era. I have so much Sportster crap. I got CV carbs and rear brake calipers and all kinds of stuff. So it might be smart for me to buy a Sportster, but
any bike with a 42 millimeter CV carb is going to take those.
It's going to take it, yeah.
You know,
right?
And also, like, I don't like reselling things. I just don't like the drama.
Yeah.
But like, resell.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I have.
It's a great way to meet people.
I have beautiful like full exhaust setups and handlebars.
I do too.
Yeah, like all kinds of stuff.
I've got exhausts for Softails because right now I'm on twin cams, and the only way I like a twin cam is, I like them if their run out on the crank is right and you can gear drive them.
Yeah.
On the cams.
Yeah.
Because now you're getting back into, plus at that point you get some good quality parts in there. Maybe you get a Screaming Eagle. Yeah. Or an S&S or a fueling.
Yeah. And
there are others as well. I know that Zippers makes a good, like cam plate.
Yeah.
And, and at that point now your bike is, you got good like prospects for wear and tear long term there.
Right.
So that's what I like is twin cams have some real problems that drive down the value on resale.
Yes.
And the solutions to those.
Did it stop?
Freaking stopped. Well, the solutions to the problems with twin cams, it's fine. I've been watching it.
Are you kidding me?
We lose with a couple minutes. It's fine.
I'm enraged.
Well, this is Podbean.
I'm like,
registering
feelings of anger right now. That's
we should communicate that to them.
I will.
Tell them
I'm gonna
your
write
interface
a
is
scathing
super
email.
janky. But
yes.
Anyways, I sounds like Softail or Dyna.
Yeah. If I can get one and afford one, and I'd even take I saw a Road King on Facebook Marketplace for like $5,200 or something.
I'm telling you, Road Kings are great bikes because there you've got all of the dimensional luxury of a bagger ride, which is a really nice ride. I thought I wasn't going to like baggers because all my other 3 bikes, you're sitting down in the bike.
Yeah.
But on a bagger, that can't happen.
Yeah, you're on top of it.
Because your rear wheel you can't drop to the rear wheel and get into the bike. So you're on top of it.
Right.
But it's extremely comfortable.
Yeah,
and it's maneuverable.
I value that highly.
Really, really good steering. It's a very, very good platform for for riding.
Yeah.
So.
It'd be sick to take one of those and like strip it down and paint it matte black and kind of make it a little bit of a sleeper. I like that idea a lot.
That was my plan. I was going to get a Racer's Edge crashed Road King.
Yes.
And take it down to the frame.
Yeah.
I wanted a straight frame, but probably a messed up front end. Get a front end on it, and build it out. That was the only way I could see myself getting a bike for me and my wife.
Yes.
But a very cool guy approached me about his 2000 Electric Glide.
Yeah.
And sold it to me for a very good price.
That's awesome, bro.
Yeah, about $2,000 under what he could have gotten for it.
That's awesome.
And I was very, very happy. And again, gear drive cams.
Yeah.
A build on the displacement.
Yeah.
Very, very pleased with it. So.
How much is a rebuild kit for like a Road King or a Dyna? Do you know? Are they
when you talk about a rebuild kit, are you talking about a top end rebuild?
No, I'm talking about like a full on. Like your motor is end pieces and it's going back together with brand new parts.
So it's not so much a kit as it is multiple
kits.
Because like if you took the motor down all the way, if I took the motor down all the way, which I have that extra motor, that I'm gonna take down all the way, Heritage Softail also, Jay Sloan commented. That's a great middle ground because it has the shorter frame. It's on the Softail frame, but it's built out like a bagger.
Yeah.
I prefer my Softails standard.
Sure.
Without all it has a big front end, big tubes like the Road King with a nacelle like the Road King around the headlight.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful bike, but it doesn't have the touring frame length.
Sure.
But it's not a lot of inches, but it is a difference. But if I'm gonna have like permanent bags and a windshield, or something on a bike, I would just go with a Road King.
Yeah.
If I have a Softail, I'm gonna run it like a more bare bones.
Yes, like smaller fairing, perhaps.
1976 called and gotten a time. It says it's in 2000 because I got in a time machine.
Oh my gosh!
But to really rebuild a bike, what are we talking about? I'm going to miss a whole bunch of things, but you're going to take that motor off, take that transmission off, and if you want to get a good transmission in there,
I think I'm good on the transmission.
Brad, the bike shop, and I would both like to put a Baker Fat 5 into our bikes.
Yes.
We like the 5-speed. We like the Baker Fat 5. That's $4,000. We're gonna put that aside.
Yeah, that's too much. Yeah, it's a bridge too far.
Boy, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But we would do. Let me just give me.
Go ahead. Take your time.
We would do. We'd send the crank out to like Skunk Works, or Brad's got a good outfit that does great crank work. I can't remember, they're in Florida. We'd send out the crank.
Yep.
Get it done right.
Yep.
Or we would order in proper.
Yes.
Crank.
Yes.
Right, like an S&S crank.
Yes.
Because you're going to have no run out.
Yeah.
You're going to have no run out. Then we're going to take that bike's oil delivery, cam plate situation. We're going to go with something billet, something that's really good. All of the billet cam plates from Screaming Eagle on up are really impressive.
Sure.
Big over the cast Harley.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that. Now your crank's going to cost you easy $1,000.
Sure.
If you send your crank out, you'll be out freight plus $500 for balancing and making sure it's proper, whether that's pinned or welded.
Yeah.
I like pinned.
Yes.
But then I learned more about it, And then I was like, okay, welded's fine too.
Yes.
But then I learned more about it, and I was like, maybe both. But then I learned more about it, and so after learning more about it, I'm pretty convinced I don't know.
Okay, perfect.
But I do know this: if I send out a crank to a reputable bunch of guys,
Yeah.
And I get that crank back, probably not going to have problems with it. Now, where you get in trouble with cranks, where they're going to scissor,
Yeah.
is if you are like crunching on that bike. You've got to abuse that thing.
Yeah.
So if you've got a crank from 2000 to 2003, those years were really good for the pressed Harley crank.
Sure.
You would have to beat on that bike to get it to scissor and get that wobble that out.
Right.
So get your crank done. Call that $500 to $700. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
You get your crank back. You're gonna do, let's say S&S.
Yeah.
We go with S&S. We're gonna do cams. Your cams are gonna cost you, call it $500.
Okay.
Probably $4, maybe $3, but $500 for your cams.
Yes.
All right. Then you're gonna wanna, along with your cams, you're gonna make sure you get some beehive springs on the top.
Yes.
Add $200 in for that.
Yeah.
And add another like $150 in for gaskets.
Yep.
And let's add $200 on there for all new head bolts.
Yeah, why not?
Which are actually sleeved.
Yeah.
Let's do sleeve. Let's make sure we replace all that hardware so the metallurgy is consistent.
Yeah.
All right. Probably you're going to get those for a lot less than those numbers, but I'm just, now it's going to cost you $2,000 for your new oil distribution cam plate.
Jeez.
Probably $1,700.
Jeez.
Well,
okay.
let's bill it.
All right.
There's a lot that goes into these things.
Yeah. Sure.
And then let me see, what have we done now? So now we've got our cams, and we'll go with gear drive. It's fine. That's part of the cost.
Yes.
All right. Now we're going to get some new jugs.
Yes.
We're going to break that cylinder up toward 100.
Yeah.
All right. We're not going to stroke it with new connecting rods and new lengths. We're going to put on some nice jugs, and we're going to go ahead and get new jugs.
Yeah.
And we're going to get new cylinders. So the new cylinders, who did I always get those cylinders from? It's been a minute. I've gotten cylinders a lot of times. Wiseco.
Okay.
And get some nice Wisecos, and we're going to take your compression up to 10 to 1.
Sure.
And you're still able to run stock heads, but why don't we get the heads ported and polished?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so your cylinders are going to cost you, call that whole situation there, another $1,200.
Okay.
Probably less.
Sure.
All right.
Does that include pistons?
Yeah, that includes your pistons.
Okay.
Now, some of these prices were too high, and I think that one might be too low.
That's fine.
So now, because I have jugs that can be, machined, just honed.
Yeah.
And I got a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I've even got pistons.
Jeez.
We can, but so anyways, you take all that, and I think that gets you there. You're going to, let's see, like if it's a used bike, the heads, I would just port and polish the heads.
Yeah.
You got your beehive springs. There's more. That's about right.
1550, 1750. That's 3750. Plus 1200 is 4950. So you're looking at like $5,000 to really do it.
I agree with that price. And now you could spend $8,000 instead.
Yes.
Take it down to Skunk Works. Take it down to Kevin Baxter.
Yeah.
Drop the bike off, and for $8,000, they can do all that on an M8.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you're able to drop the money on an M8 bike, and what's $8,000 more on a $40,000 bike?
Jeez,
I know.
At what price though?
But like that setup right there, add $4,000 to it for your Fat 5.
Oh my gosh.
I'm talking about year 2000 era.
Yeah.
Twin cams in my case. That's what I'm studying. But it's applicable.
Yeah.
Cheaper on a Sportster.
Yeah.
Same on a Dyna.
Yeah.
Same on a twin cam. If we're just talking twin cams.
Yeah.
There's what else is there? I mean, you're gonna put in new piston oilers from S&S because the Harley stock piston oilers, we tested them.
Yeah.
And they're not great. They don't have the 10.
Of course.
I think it's 10 to 13 pounds they're supposed to fire.
Yeah.
Then they fire low.
Yeah.
So you give too much oil and you get sumping.
Of course.
You get cavitation. Right. You get heat. You get wear.
I mean, yeah, you could just add like
but that's
$500 to the top of it.
piston oilers are like way under $30.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
But you're gonna do like new ignition, new spark plugs.
Those,
new,
those oilers might actually come with some of that stuff in some of these packages here, but yeah, you're looking at $5,000. But now what you do is you get a $5,000 bike, you build it into a $15,000 bike by putting $5 more in it for 10.
Yes.
Nobody's going to pay you $15,000 for it, but that is what it would be worth if you were getting a comparable bike off a dealer floor.
Oh, interesting. Sure.
Oh yeah, I watched my old Frankendyna that may have been something, and definitely they replaced the wiring harness on it. And I watched it sell again and again for like 11, 12 grand.
Jeez, dude.
You know?
Yeah.
And
what was the first thing you talked about?
I don't know.
It was $700 to send down to Florida.
Oh, the crank.
The crank. Crank.
Yep.
Crank, cam, springs, gaskets, head bolts, cam plate, cylinders, heads, pistons. Boom.
I'm certain I've forgotten some things in there. That's fine. I feel happy though. This made me feel happy.
Yes. It's really not horrible, especially if you can find an old beat up one for $2,000 or something. You're essentially $8,000 into an amazing bike.
Well, here's another thing. You can do the cams and the cam plate just themselves on a running bike.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Actually, you may need to. You got to replace your valve springs. It would be best if it was all done in one shot.
Sure.
Yeah, it would be. But like, if your cam isn't too crazy,
yeah,
you don't need the beehive springs.
Yeah, sure.
And in fact, I don't think you and I are really the guys that are going to need beehive springs, because we do riders, like. But I like that.
Yeah.
I like to. Brad at the bike shop, who I love dearly as a brother.
Yeah.
And who I respect as a technician.
Yes.
He loves the Andrews 37 cam. It's kind of a bagger cam.
Okay.
He loves that cam. And it's a good performing cam. And it's not like the 575, S&S 575 cam. Gives you huge lift. Big gulps of fuel and big burps of exhaust. Huge big burps.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to need those super strong beehive springs to make sure that you don't, break a spring.
Yes.
And that it's closing all the way, because, man, I think it's going up.
Yeah, man. Sure.
Tim has 575s.
Yes.
S&S 575 cams. And he's got a 100 build on his bike.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super nice. That thing rips.
Brad put that in.
Yeah.
Well, Brad accuses me of doing that rebuild.
As I recall, you did do quite a bit of work on that.
I'll tell you this. If I hadn't had Bradley over my shoulder and guiding that whole process, I'm certain that rebuild would have turned out quite poorly. If I had to do that rebuild alone, I would have done it very incrementally, very slowly, and I probably would have been successful in a good rebuild.
Yes.
I probably would have, but we put it in 2 Saturdays.
Yeah, you guys crushed through that. That was wild. Yeah, I'm imagining a situation like you got your motor out, you have your little garage mahal laid out with super good benches and lighting, and you got a book, and you're just down there for half an hour a day and then 4 hours on the weekends.
I know it can be done, and I know that I could do it, and I know that you can do it. I could do it, but you can do it. But the thing is, like doing the end gap on your rings. Yeah. All right. Well, you can do that. Well, I feel like if I were doing a rebuild for someone else, it's a huge responsibility. Yeah. If I were doing a top end for someone else, I would order 3 sets of rings. Yep. Because I want that end gap to be perfect, and I don't want to not know whether I got it perfect. Yeah. And I have to know that I can blow through 1 set of rings. Yes. If because otherwise, what ought to be done with a relaxed mind will be being done with a tense mind.
And a frantic, yes. And that's when mistakes happen, for sure.
It is. It's a lot about the mental headspace, that kind of work.
Yeah. I was just under my truck dropping my transmission, and I was kind of in a hurry because it was cold and I didn't want to do it. And I had a strap over the transmission and around the transmission jack to make sure it really cinches down. And I hooked one of the hooks. They were supposed to be hooked into each other on the strap, and I hooked one to the bottom of the transmission jack. And I noticed it, and I was like, it's going to be fine. And I dropped the transmission, and it slipped, and the entire transmission, like, flipped on its side. It's a huge, it's like 450 pounds. Like, it's massive. Thankfully, I was able to just push it over, and it flipped over, and I fixed it. But it was a really good lesson of like, hey, man, 30 seconds would have saved you terror.
I mean, you didn't lose time on the job, but you lost, like, that dose of cortisol that gushed from your endocrine system into your nerve endings and toxified you, and the pH of your body, was off for like 3 days. It took up 45 minutes off your lifespan.
I had to ground myself as I slept. Have you heard of this?
I have.
Put the metal tape in the ground.
I have. With you getting us on TikTok.
Yes.
Luke is doing the TikTok. For the CapmLew, and it's been important for me to put some front side Smith stalls on TikTok.
Oh hell yeah!
And I can't wait until we can shoot some motorcycle riding.
I know, bro.
Oh my gosh!
Please.
We'll figure out this insurance
We will.
thing. But also, those of you who are praying types, please pray for a bike for Luke. And those of you who are, geez, I've got one and would really love to get rid of it. Types. Why don't you hit us up? Questions at CapmLew.
CapmLew questions at Gmail.
There it is. CapmLew questions
at gmail.com.
And it's CapmLew. There is no E in Clavin.
What?
It's, anyway.
We're going to get techie and we'll post all the info on the
we will. Actually, we could do it on the Facebook, but we'll get it on the YouTube. Everything's good. This was a great episode. We did have a technical glitch again. That's just a feature of a young podcast.
And of Podbeam.
Yeah, Podbeam is definitely been letting us down.
We might do better to just do a voice memo and then upload it, but
That's not
me
bad.
shaking my head at the stupidity.
Does that work? Segue to it not working.
Yes, on next episode.
That's what happens.
Yes.
All of a sudden you realize, okay, we have to record with the Podbeam app.
The Podbeam.
Yeah, that's fine. We're really content, and we're really grateful for a chance to share this time with all of you guys. We're grateful for Life Skateboards.
Yeah. Yes.
And you know what? I won't.
Thank you.
I won't.
I
will not do it.
Thank you. But you're going to do it anyway.
You have to admit.
It would be a perfect time.
That the aroma
Stop,
in this
dude.
studio
Oh my gosh, dude.
is far superior than it was when Rocco was in.
Dude, it is. It is, dude. It kind of smells like coffee and oak.
You did it.
Yes, dude.
Oh,
I couldn't help myself.
I don't know if a proper beard oil sponsor will come up, but
jeez.
Well, the thing about sponsorship is it's not just someone who wants like, hey man, can you do our beard oil? But you need to pay some money.
Yeah, because of all the crazy
There
views.
needs to be the transfer of some pecuniary resource.
Some pecuniary.
Pecuniary. That's pecunia. Pecunia is Latin for money.
All right.
Yeah.
Geez, somebody went to 7th grade.
It was 7th grade.
Yeah,
7th and
they
8th
started
grade.
7th.
I learned that.
Yeah, they started 7th. I wish I had taken it.
Agricola sum.
Oh.
I am a farmer.
Of all the Latin, this is what stuck. Yes, dude.
Oh my gosh, he took Latin.
Oh my gosh, it probably helped tremendously.
Well, it didn't help me with my D&D game. I never could get into it. I just don't have the patience.
I don't. And what's up with all the dice? There's so many dice, and what's the point? I don't understand.
The dice were my favorite part.
And how does it work? You can just do anything?
But I just wanted to have the dice because they were shiny and they look like rubies and emeralds.
Oh my gosh, dude! There's like 75 sides on it. None of it makes sense.
I'm too physical.
I know,
That's
dude.
the problem. Is
It's
I'm
too
not.
tactile.
My imagination.
Yes.
That's why I'm no good at Call of Duty.
Oh yeah, I've watched you play. It's beautiful.
I hate dying.
Yeah, dude.
I hate it because there is no respawning. There is none. If you're locked in combat, you are in and then you are out,
dude,
my friends.
We should get a VR headset and make you play Call of Duty in a VR headset and just live stream it, dude. Just live stream it, dude.
Everyone would enjoy that meltdown.
Yes, dude.
Oh my gosh, it'd be soaked in sweat and quivering.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my gosh, you need to definitely hold all my knives.
Yes, just in case we get to a tactile situation.
That's funny.
Oh man, I love it.
That's funny. All right. Well, from our upper sanctum to you for what it's worth.
Yes.
The CapmLew podcast with your host CapmLew and your co-host
Co-Captain Luke.
I'm saying we're still figuring things out, but I don't know. We got love for the block.
True.
You know, I mean that in the way that Brother Lynch Hung meant it.
I know.
Thank you.
But they don't.
I think I don't.
I think I don't.
I don't think I can step to that.
Stuff.
It's a terrible end to a
Oh my
podcast.
gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Laters.
We would fix it in post if we knew how. Thanks for listening.
Oh boy.
We had to do a double episode today. We would be absolutely fine with it if nobody watches on Facebook. We don't even know. We can't express how grateful we are that we have breath and life and get to share these thoughts in this journey with you guys. And we hope that you are well. We know that at times we aren't.
Yes.
And if you're not well, you matter.
Yep.
And we're not going to make it without you. So come on. Hang in there.
Yep.
Yeah. Shoot us an email.
CapmLew questions at Gmail.
At gmail.com. That's
It's-
CapmLew. That's real hard
Questions.
for people.
Yeah, it's spelled how it sounds.
CapmLew. That's right. And we'll be at you later for what it's worth.
Laters. That's this one.
Oh, it's this one.
My
It's
God.
I don't have any